unbiased, fan-friendly Syracuse sports coverage on WSKO Syracuse. A Cumulus media station, the voice of the Central New York sports fan, The Score, 1260. Welcome to your home for local sports in Syracuse. Outside the Box Score with Mark Rowlands starts right now.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Big show for you today. A lot of things to talk about. A lot of SU basketball news. We've got some high school stuff to talk about. Mainly, the main thing is SU basketball news, of course, because new coach coming in, top assistant coming from a pretty esteemed school. Mount St. Mary's, and then esteemed for what they are. Like,
Sure.
He did a very good job in that conference. And Judah Mintz transferring out, so we'll give our reactions on that. But I do want to start the show with a bit of somber news. The football world lost a legend this weekend, or this week, I should say. It's our first weekend without him, as Pat says in the chat. A running back who in a 14-game season ran for over 2,000 yards, 1968 Heisman Trophy winner, 1973 NFL MVP, Buffalo Bills legend O.J. Simpson.
I don't know why you're laughing, Mark.
I don't. I'm holding back tears.
Just gotta laugh through it.
Just gotta laugh through it. OJ went on to, of course, star in movies. The Naked Gun films, absolutely hilarious. The bit in the first one of him like getting shot and then stepping in a bear trap and his head falling into cake and him getting wet paint on his on his jacket, very funny. But with the Towering Inferno, like I said, all three Naked Gun movies, a true legend of field and screen. O.J. Simpson. What?
And Blade.
And it's funny. He sort of fell off the face of the earth in 1994. No one knows what happened to him after. But it's a sad moment for all sports fans. All right, that's enough of that bit.
Yeah. That sucks. Juice is done.
Yeah, the juice is no longer loose, as they would say. Top 5 Twitter day the other day.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just the amount of jokes.
Any day a resurface of every good Norm joke ever comes out, that's a good Twitter day.
I mean, if people want, there's a great, if you're
you got time.
Yeah, there's a great YouTube channel if you're a Norm Macdonald fan, which I know both of us are. And Braylon, I don't know if you're familiar with Norm Macdonald. You used to be the Weekend Update host on Saturday Night Live during the 90s, and it's one of those things where talk about perfect timing. He was there during the entirety of the OJ trial, everything, the lead up to it, and the aftermath.
He gets fired.
He gets fired from SNL for making too many jokes about O.J. Simpson.
Like, they told him to stop, and he was like, no, I'm not doing that. This is hilarious. He killed that guy. And they end up firing him.
But there's a great video on YouTube, this YouTube channel, I'm Not Norm, that's just like, I think it's called 45 Minutes of Why Norm Got Fired from SNL. It's just 45 minutes of O.J. Simpson jokes.
Oh, wow. All one-liners mostly.
All one-liners.
So
there's
every week he'd do
500
like
jokes.
Yeah.
And
it was great.
I mean, there's some of the the week he was acquitted, they go on SNL and Norm starts Weekend Update with, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's official. Murder is legal in the state of California. And just unbelievable. The OJ's attorney, Johnny Cochran, put on the infamous knit cap that was allegedly worn by OJ during the murders, would have helped the case, or yeah, it would have been better for the case if OJ didn't stand up and say, hey, watch out with that. That's my lucky stabbing hat. Just unbelievable. There's also Jim Downey, who co-wrote a lot of those jokes with Norm. Him and Norm are writing partners. He went on Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. And if you listen to that episode,
the one where he talks about Jeff Epstein?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also unbelievable. He tells some great stories about those jokes and just working with Norm. So if anyone out there is a Norm Macdonald fan, there is plenty of material about O.J. Simpson for you to watch.
Jim Downey note. Didn't realize that was the guy from
Billy Madison.
And apparently he used to say that line to Farley all the time.
Yeah.
I will award you 0 points and may God have mercy on your soul.
You said, is that the one where he says stuff about Jeff Epstein? Pat just goes in the
financier.
He goes the financier. But yes, Jim Downey is, I award you no points and may God have mercy on your soul, wasn't actually a thing he used to say to Chris Farley in the SNL writer's room when Farley would write a really bad sketch. So there's, and just, oh my God, some of the stuff, and people were like writing Norm jokes on Twitter, and some of those were hilarious. Just so many funny things. Obviously, we're not going to celebrate the death of a man. Like, there is obviously, like, it. You see stuff like this all the time. You have to have the ability to separate some things.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to say O.J. Simpson's one of the 10 greatest running backs to ever step on a football field.
Yes.
Like 2,000 yards in a 14-game season, MVP, Heisman winner. He wasn't a legitimately unbelievable running back. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he did it for the Bills, helps when you're in this area. So you have to be, you have to be able to look at that and then say, well,
10 years later, he got a little crazy.
Yeah. And obviously did do jail time for the situation in Vegas where he was robbing his own merch at gunpoint back from people. Just a very strange man.
I got a thought, though.
Okay.
The CTE thing. Do you think they'll look at his brain?
They should.
That's what I say. I hope they do.
They absolutely should. I said this to you the other day. I think there's a legitimate chance he doesn't think he murdered them. Like, even if he did, like, in his mind, I think there's a legitimate chance that he's like, there's no way I killed those two people.
Yep.
Even, and obviously he was acquitted, lost the civil suits. Mm-hmm. But if he did actually do it, I think he thinks he didn't do it.
You could be right. That's Braylon's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Someone needs to study his brain because it's got to be crazy. I told you both before but I want it to reiterate it. I badly want a post-mortem video from OJ Twitter being like, hello, Twitter world.
It's actually, he says X World now.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, since they changed the name. Hello, X World. It's me, yours truth. And, oh my, and Pat saying Pat says he's probably one of the most interesting people of all time. There's no probably in that statement. Yeah. O.J. Simpson had one of the most interesting lives a person can lead. Mm-hmm. From being this all-world football player to, like I said, being legitimately funny and good in movies. And he's in commercials. And he was this larger-than-life presence. And for it to all go. And it's just very, very interesting. Oh, God, Pat sent me a link to a tweet. Oh, it's because he's in the chat saying it was definitely his son that did it. Yeah. So he just sent me a tweet that's all evidence pointing to it being OJ's son, apparently.
Pat a big conspiracy guy?
Somewhat.
I can see that.
Yeah.
No disrespect.
No disrespect at all, but
I just get that vibe. And he's like, you got time to talk about the towers? And like, oh, yeah,
okay.
Sure,
and he draws the line at some point.
He is a patriot of all.
He is absolutely a patriot. But yeah, he was. In Pat said he's an A-list celebrity.
Yeah.
I mean, a movie star. Everyone in the world knew who O.J. Simpson was before 1994. Mm-hmm. And then, obviously, this entire thing happens. And now, everyone in the world Plus, everyone in the world's kids knows who O.J. Simpson is.
Like we were saying before, too, we were trying to find the equivalent of like what that would even look like today. It'd be the level of like a Michael.
It would be
Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Michael Jordan was driving 30 miles an hour down the what's the big highway in LA called? I think it's like 91 or something. But driving down the highway in a Chevy Equinox going 30 miles an hour, with 150 police cars behind him, everyone in the world would be glued to the TV.
Yeah.
Pat says The Rock as well.
Oh, the great one.
Yeah. Same thing. It's like, God, I couldn't even imagine what it would feel like if that happened. Braylon, we were talking about the great 30 for 30 beforehand.
Yeah, there was
about that day. I gotta get I want to say it was 6/14/94.
Yeah, I think
it's
June
called.
14th, yeah.
And it's one of the best 30 for 30s because June 17th, 1994. It's called. Yeah, it's called June 17th, 1994, and one of the best 30 for 30s because you don't even have, the 30 for 30s usually have the talking heads and all that stuff. It's none of that. It's just taking you through everything that happened in the sports world that day. The Knicks are playing the Rockets in the finals. It's the U.S. Open in golf. It's everything going on all at once. And if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend any sports fan just watching that because it's one of those days. There are a few days in sports history where everything just seems to be going on all at once. And the World Cup was in the U.S. That's right. That was the fourth one. The U.S. was hosting the World Cup. So sports in this country it was just an unbelievable day. It reminds me of 2011 Game 162 in Major League Baseball, which, if you're a baseball fan, MLB has it on their YouTube channel. Just look up Game 62 2011. And there's 5 games all happening at once, all of which have playoff implications. The Red Sox blow a massive lead to the Orioles after a rain delay. Evan Longoria walks off the Yankees. Like, there's so many things. It's an awesome video. I remember sitting around with my dad watching MLB Network as they're just switching back and forth between games. It's like that. And so any sports fan should check that out. Same with the OJ Made in America docuseries that they did. And the Ryan Murphy did the American Crime Story, The People versus OJ Simpson.
That was good too.
It is very good. Cuba Gooding Jr. does a fantastic OJ. Watch that just for David Schwimmer as Rob Kardashian, because the way he says juice is so funny. He has a line in it where he's like, "Your dad, the juice," like talking to OJ's kids.
Just refers to him as the juice.
Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, your father, the juice." It's like, what? Why would you say that to his kids?
You know your dad, Orenthal.
Yeah, like, but that's very good. Jim says, do you remember where you were in June 1994? June 17th, 1994 is almost 5 years to the day before I was born.
Yeah.
It's one day after. I was June 16th, 1999.
A year and a half before me.
Yeah, so none of us were around. Jim says, some of us were trying to watch the Knicks.
What the hell's going on? I don't care about it. He didn't do that. Get him off my screen.
But yeah, so a lot of great content out there if you are more interested in the story. He was absolutely a legend that just so happened to have probably killed 2 people. Allegedly.
One of America's greatest untold stories. We'll never know.
Yeah, very untold story that of O.J.
Just
Simpson.
3 different in-depth documentaries. We'll never
exactly. We'll never know. But we wanted to start the show with that. We're not going to be talking about O.J. the entire time. We're going to take a break, then we're going to come back. We got some SU basketball to talk about. We're going to talk about the Masters. Jim says, should one feel guilty watching this show and watching Masters feature groups? Absolutely not. We've got live from the Masters on Golf Channel on here in the studio as well. I will be tuning in most of the day to what's going on at Augusta. And we're going to talk about that when we come back right here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260.
Discover tranquility and rejuvenation at Stasis Floats.
Mr. Bohem, you're right.
What do you say?
If it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
Those are the funniest things that come out too, where it's like, he stopped with the medication and all the things, right? And him just going like, "It's not working.
It doesn't
it's not."
fit.
Yeah.
The fact that people are like, no, yeah, we made it not fit is wild.
Could you have ever found a truly unbiased jury though? Like, especially it was in LA, right? So I mean, he
Yeah, it
grew
was
up
in
a
LA.
USC legend.
Mhm.
I mean, people loved OJ. That nobody on that jury wanted to make him a murderer. Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it's impossible to find someone who was like, I hate OJ Simpson.
Yeah,
It's
like
crazy.
it's
Especially because it wasn't a hot thing back then to like hate popular people. Like, they
yeah.
were still always like, oh, OJ. Whereas like now it's like, I think The Rock's stupid. And you're like, well, I guess, but like it's just things
just
where, like,
Austin.
you have to hate.
That's
cool
just
things.
Austin.
It's just Austin. It's just people who have to go against fun things.
Well, Pat says all of white America hated OJ. It to a point, yeah. I mean,
Sure,
there
I get the
was
racism
there
back
was a
then, too.
massive racial part of that because it was right after the Rodney King riots in LA, which I mean, again, everything that led up to it
Yeah.
is so interesting. And Jim's actually asking questions about sports. Is it just a coincidence there's only one Boeheim player left in Bell? I don't know. It's one of those, like, at this point, I think we just got to get used to the constant movement of college players, whether or not the coach who recruited them is still there. Like,
This is just what happens.
yeah, it's just what happens. Yeah, I mean, you think Kale's going to bring all of Kentucky to Arkansas with him?
I'm sure there'll be some.
There'll
think
probably
so.
be one or two, but
Did
like,
you see his opening thing? He's like, I met with the team.
there is no team.
Everyone's gone. Damn it.
I just Big Cat said something, and I think it's a very interesting conversation. Who wins a championship first, Calipari or Kentucky?
Kentucky.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't know that Arkansas is like, even with Cal. Cal's name has been
Yeah, I don't think
degraded
he's
lately.
like as hot as he was before.
That and
wanting to play for him.
Right.
I
Kentucky
don't-
hasn't been good for the last 5-6 years.
yeah, and Kentucky is bigger than Cal.
Yeah.
Kentucky isn't a blue blood program because of Calipari.
Sure. They were a blue.
They've been a blue blood for 100 years.
I also think, like, I don't know. It just depends on. I think Cal could coach a championship caliber team. He just clearly the last decade hasn't wanted
Mhm.
to. That's just not his goal. He's been pretty vocal about it.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't really care about winning a championship.
Yeah, and Pat says if you want to play in the NBA, you play for Cal. Yeah, that's a different thing than winning a championship.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before. Like, Cal's style of coaching is more inducive of NBA players than it is winning a title.
Which I've said to you off the air and whatever. Like, it's a good.
And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Again, some of the SU basketball news. We have a new top assistant at Syracuse, Dan Engelstad. Coming as the former head coach at Mount St. Mary's. He was there starting in 2018. Went 72 and 109 there, which obviously isn't great.
Yep.
But did lead the Mountaineers to the 2021 NEC Tournament Championship. Mount St. Mary's didn't have a great year this year. I remember looking because they were in the same conference as LeMoyne now. Not a great this year, but had some success there and could potentially be bringing a really interesting player with them. Mount St. Mary's had a guy enter the transfer portal this year, Dakota LeFew, who averaged 17.6 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 4 assists. While
what's he play?
he's a guard. Sorry, I'm like I feel the need to sneeze, but it's not quite coming. He's a guard.
Okay.
Also shot 36.5% from 3 and averaged he averaged 1.5 steals a game. So with the loss of a guard in Judah Mintz, which we'll get to in a second, bringing in a guy like Dakota LaFew seems like it would be a worthy addition for Syracuse. They, of course, also brought in Eddie Lampkin from Colorado, the big man, which is so nice that this team's going to have an actual center.
Yes.
I love Malik Brown. I was really sad to see him go, but bringing in a guy that's 6'11", 265 really put some size down low and played well in the tournament on the biggest stage. Really is so far seems to be helping Syracuse. Engelstad was also the head coach for Southern Vermont, which is a Division III school, and he went 104-34 while there. So I know it's Division III, but the guy clearly knows how to coach. Just because Jason Leone coaches at Division III doesn't mean I would say that he'd make a bad Division I coach. Like, a good coach is a good coach. Pat, I said it was a D3 school. He's like, Southern Vermont. I'm like, yeah, I said it was a D3 school.
Qualified.
Yeah. And so had success there. Listen, it seems like a good hire in the sense that this is a guy with a lot of experience. He's been around the block for quite a few years. Oh, that's right. A buddy of ours that we played baseball with played baseball at Southern Vermont. Shout out Nicky Santoro, who's now a hitting coach somewhere, I think, or at least he was. I don't know if he's still doing that, but yeah, I seem to like the hire. It's not the most headline grabbing, but you're looking for a top assistant, not a head coach. And like I said, I think in a few years, if Autry isn't here anymore, that Jerry McNamara's phone is going to be ringing. So they're not looking for a guy to essentially potentially replace Autry. Once G-Max got a few years of head coaching experience, I think he's definitely going to be the first guy they call next time they need a head coach. Who knows when that'll be. But the next time they need a head coach, I do think it'll be Jerry McNamara. It's just a good, solid hire, I think.
Yeah, no complaints.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. And then the other big news, Judah Mintz gone.
To the draft.
To the draft, declared for the NBA draft. This is the second time he's put his name in the draft. He put his name in the draft last year, did end up coming back. But he did say this time that his time at Syracuse is done. Might pull Bronny James and enter the transfer portal and the draft, which if any team that drafts Bronny in the first round this year, what are you doing?
You want your debt. They want their debt.
Yeah, I know.
Pretty clear.
I know, but is he going to force a trade out of LA?
No, I think his contract's up.
I thought he had one more year.
He might, but I know he was trying to position like to where he could go whenever he got in the draft.
Even then, last year, yes. If anybody, I mean, we've seen guys of lesser stature constantly declare trades or just sit.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know.
He gave him a championship. What more did that city want?
And Jim mentioned, so Mike Waters was writing his article. Yeah, and I called this out last week because, Josh, you weren't here.
No.
Mike Waters published an article on Syracuse.com, the great local basketball reporter, one of the best, and Pat says it too, and I agree, one of the best college basketball writers in the country. Insanely respected, and he's a great guy. I've had the pleasure of meeting him on a number of occasions. Mike is an awesome dude. And he published an article saying that...
Short and sweet. I read it.
Yeah. Judah was not coming back.
Yep.
It was pretty much official that Judah Mintz was not going to be returning to Syracuse. And Judah Mintz called him out on Twitter and said, can someone keep Mike Waters away from this program?
I think that was the thing that he wanted to announce it himself. Is what he was trying to get at.
I understand, but usually I agree when it's like Jason Kelsey's retirement and Adam Schefter like says, that he's going to announce his retirement. And it would have been nice for Jason Kelsey to do that on his own terms. Stuff like that. But when you're a local college basketball reporter, that's all he's got, man.
Yeah.
Like, Schefter has every NFL GM's phone number. Any player will go to him if they want him to break a story. Like, he doesn't need that. Guys like Waters, this is what they do. And Pat says, Mintz already had this moment last year.
Right.
When he announced he was declaring for the draft.
I think this goes back to how he thinks of himself all year. Like, we talked about his kind of time selfish play or this and that. Like, I think he thinks he's more of a Syracuse star than the fans do. So I think he thinks he deserves that level of.
Yeah. I saw a shout out, my buddy Johnny Gruninger, who Pat also knows. He said on Twitter, because people were asking, like, so, all right, final thoughts on Judah Mintz's Syracuse career. And I thought this was a very interesting point. He goes, he's probably the worst best player we've ever had. I'm not sure, but yeah, in terms of fan, like how the fans thought about him, yeah, in terms of our quote-unquote star player, I don't remember SU fans turning on one quite as much as they did with Judah.
So he played 3 years here, right?
2.
2?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so it's hard to. I was going to bring up that guy who just went to Clemson.
Oh, Gerard.
Like, the comparison to that. I mean, the fans turned on that guy, but as a total star of the program for his years here, I mean, was he a better star than Judah?
God,
It's been a rough couple years for the SU basketball program.
Pat says he's not an NBA guard, and right now I tend to agree. I was hoping his jump shot was going to get a lot better this year, and it didn't. It was better overall than it was last year, but towards the end of last year, he started making like 45% of his threes, and he just didn't do that this year. He never got into a rhythm from behind the arc, and we've talked about it ad nauseum. The constant driving to the basket is great when it works, and the most frustrating thing in the world to watch when it doesn't. Because a lot of the time he doesn't make them. He's just begging for the foul. And when it gets called and he shoots 20 free throws, awesome. That's great. Pat just sent a bunch of Chinese characters, insinuating that's where Judah Mintz is going to play. Hey, man, you can carve out a career over there. Jimmer Fredette, Stephon Marbury. You can definitely carve out a career over there. But yeah, he's not an NBA guard right now. If he gets drafted, he won't sniff the first round. In mid-late second round, if he gets drafted. And we'll see where he ends up. He's not going to be back at Syracuse. I don't know if we know that for a fact. I don't know if he's hired an agent. I don't know if he will have the ability to come back to college next year, as of right now. I still think there's a decent chance that we see him play college basketball elsewhere next year. The only thing we don't know or the only thing we know for sure is it won't be at Syracuse or Georgetown.
Yes.
Because he did. Oh, yeah, you can have an agent in college now. I forgot, with NIL, they allow you to have agents. So he probably has an agent, but we don't know if he's foregoing the rest of his eligibility.
Maybe Coach Cal likes him.
Oh,
Maybe he'll go to Arkansas.
It wouldn't surprise me.
There's no team. They need a team, Mark.
No, what wouldn't surprise me is if he called up Coach Cal. Not Cal being like, hey, I want you to come play here.
Hey, you need me.
But if he called up Calipari and was like, hey, I want to go to the NBA, and you can help me.
I mean, it makes sense for both guys.
So maybe we could see that happen. It's gonna be interesting. We'll see how this Judah Mintz situation goes, and I agree, Pat. There are better guards in the portal.
Sure.
But I'm saying I think he just wants to go somewhere where he can be like, hey, come on.
I mean, he could definitely be coached up. He's got a lot of talent. I think the hate that he gets is almost too much at times because he is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a lot of talent there. But Pat says Kale won't fall over Mintz. Yeah, depending on who Kale brings in, Mintz might not start at Arkansas.
Sure.
So that wouldn't help him. Because Memphis just got a guard, I think Memphis Memphis just got a guard in the transfer portal. I was just trying to think of like a big time mid-major or like a lower end like power 5 school where he could just go and score 25 points.
I'm really interested to see the level of transfer that Kale gets at Arkansas, because there's no way in hell he has the resources at Arkansas that he had at Kentucky.
No, that's why he went there.
You think they're that big?
Well, did you not hear about the NIL commitment?
No.
So the reason Kale went to Arkansas is because he is friends with the heirs of the Tyson chicken fortune, which is in Arkansas. I'm not kidding.
He knows.
Yes.
It's like the O. Henry candy bar heir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And which is in Arkansas, and they're big boosters. And so they said the numbers aren't confirmed, but what I've seen reported is $5 million a year. They're going to commit just from them to NIL for Arkansas.
He's got the resources.
That's $1 million a year to your starting 5.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. And Walmart is close by too. So the
Cronkies or Cronky's married.
The Waltons. The Waltons. Yeah. So the Walton family will likely get involved there too.
Nice.
So there's a lot of resources and a lot of money going into the Arkansas basketball program, and it's a great job. Arkansas wasn't good this year, but Musselman did a fantastic job with that program, and I'm interested to see where he goes. I know, or is Southern Cal locked in?
Nunez, I think, said it was.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was officially locked in. It's like 99% locked in if it isn't. But so him at USC would be interesting. I think Musselman's a great coach. And well, I was gonna say if he's got Bronny next year, but no, Bronny's gone for sure. So we'll see what USC is like. I know they were good this year, but I was never super high on him.
Did that kid from Duke announce that he's going to the draft, or just that he's leaving Duke?
Filipowski?
No, Jared.
They both declared for the draft.
Oh, he did go draft.
Yeah.
I just saw his "I'm out of Duke" thing, but it never said.
Yeah, they both declared for the draft. So did Donovan Clingan from UConn.
I saw that one. Yeah.
Which I don't remember. Like, it's been a few years since no one stuck out to me in college this year as like that guy's the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I'm sure there is a guy, but it's probably like a Murray State level thing or whatever.
I think the number 1 pick right now is a foreign guy, another Frenchman.
Yeah. Oh, another Frenchman? Oh, God. Is he 8 feet tall?
No, he's only 7 foot. I saw this.
He's only 7 foot.
He's only 7 foot. 7'1", I think. His name is Alex Sarr.
Okay.
Like that. It's him and another guy from France.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Donovan Clingan has Luka Garza written all over him to me. He's going second round of the Pistons, and he's going to work in the G League for the next.
No, Clingan is one of those guys that's projected to potentially be the number 1 overall pick.
I've seen tall white dudes come through here all the time. They're sitting in the G Leagues.
Right now, I'm on Tankathon, which is the one I use for most of my mock drafts.
Okay.
Right now, they've got him going 7th to the Grizzlies, which I think that's too low. But ahead of Reed Shepherd from Kentucky, he's really good. Right now their top 10 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 guys out of the top 10 played in college this year. Reed Shepherd, Rob Dillingham, also the other guard from Kentucky, he's good. Stephon Castle and Clingan out of UConn. Cody Williams out of Colorado.
Okay.
I remember him. He was fine. Like, I don't know. And Dalton Connect out of Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
So those are the... Yeah.
Yeah,
he averaged 25.5 points a game this year.
I'm familiar.
So those are the ones in the top 10 here that Terrence Shannon, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see about that one. Filipowski. Like, there are guys, but usually there's. Oh, also, I'm gonna check and see if they've got Judah Mintz on here. They do not. So he's not even on this mock draft.
Not a top 60 prospect.
No. They've also got Zach Edey going 23rd to the Bucks, and I'm not a huge Zach Edey guy in terms of his NBA success, but him next to Giannis down low on that team would be terrifying.
Him, Giannis, and Brook Lopez.
That oh my god!
Try and drive the lane.
Try to get inside. You can't. You can't get inside the 3-point line. So that'd be horrifying for any other Eastern Conference team. Pat says if it wasn't for his situation, Shannon would be the top pick. Probably, but that's a pretty serious situation.
I'm surprised. I was talking to people. I'm surprised they allowed him to play in the tournament. Play the rest of the year. It seems pretty damning.
We'll see where he ends up falling. This has him going 17 to the Raptors. He'll still be a first-round pick. Someone will take a flyer on him. You know who I loved in college, and I just think will not be good in the NBA?
Who's that?
Tyler Kolek from Marquette, the point guard.
Yep.
Save for the fact he can't read. Which is one of my favorite random internet rumors was like, oh yeah, Tyler Kolek, illiterate.
Speaking about fun NBA, do you have a guy in your mind? I have an example that I like forever. I thought this dude was going to be the next big thing in the NBA, and he was terrible. Do you have a guy in mind that you're like, I really thought this guy was going to be good? I can go first.
I've got one, and he was good, but not. I thought he was going to end up being a stud. Former Celtic Delonte West.
Okay.
And he was pretty good.
Player still.
Yeah, he was a pretty good player.
My guy, I think, was out of the league within like 5 years.
Okay.
Josh Jackson from Kansas.
Yep.
I thought he was going to be insane.
Yeah.
And then he like barely makes the team.
Yep.
Averages less than 7 points a game or something, and was just not an NBA guy, which made no sense to me.
See, well, if we're talking about like when they were coming out of college,
yeah.
For me, that's Luka Garza.
Okay, yeah.
I thought Luka Garza was gonna be
he could ball
so good, dude. When he was coming out of Iowa, I was like, this guy's gonna be a menace, and stinks.
Mine was Anthony Bennett.
Oh yeah,
massive rip there. I wasn't too familiar with Bennett like during that draft. I was a little too young.
The thing that got me is like this year. I remember we were talking in school the morning that SU was gonna play UNLV, and I'm like, SU doesn't have anybody inside. And Anthony Bennett's gonna kill him.
He had like 35 and 25 that game. He torched us.
But Syracuse won.
Yeah.
And then he gets drafted first, and then he just doesn't do anything at all.
He's got to be like one of the biggest busts in NBA.
I also thought Tyler Hansbrough was gonna be good.
Right.
I used to love Tyler Hansbrough.
Especially after, because did he come out the year after Blake Griffin or right before? Because like you've seen him. Okay. Because they were going back and forth. Like, wow, these two are clearly the best players in college, and then. Yeah, he played though at least for like 9-10 years, right, for the Pacers. Did he make it that long or not even?
4.
Oh, really? That little?
Because he ended up on the Raptors and then he just ended up out of the league.
Sorry, who's this? I was
Hansbrough.
Oh yeah, Hansbrough. Yeah, there's a lot of them, man. There's so many.
Coming from Georgetown too, I thought Greg Monroe was gonna be good, 8th overall to the Bucks or whatever.
He had a decent career.
He carved out a decent career.
He's okay.
But he was a guy for a while, you know.
That's fair.
Jim says this is, quote, supposedly the worst NBA draft in years. They've said that each of the past 5 years. Every year it's either the best draft ever or the worst draft ever. I feel like I never hear it's like, it's a fine draft. You never hear that. It's always, no, this draft stinks, or it's last year. It's like, oh, it's the Wemby draft.
Is there like a G League guy this year? Like last year was Scoot, right?
Yeah.
But like, is there a guy this year that's like popping off in the G League or their development, whatever?
The first guy they've got is Matas Buzelis, who from the G League, they've got him going 8th to the Jazz, 6'11", small forward.
Are the Hornets gonna hire the woman coach? from the Kings G League?
They might.
They interviewed her.
Yeah, it seems like they really like her. I think that'd be great.
Becky Hamilton's pissed.
Hammond.
Yeah.
Oh,
my bad. She's pissed. She's like, that was mine. I was supposed to be the NBA.
Well,
woman.
she probably could have been. She got a bag from it's Vegas, right?
Yeah.
She got a bag from Vegas. She's higher paid than most of the players on that team.
Yes.
So and plus she's won a championship. Like,
sure.
But I think I think that'd be great if they hired her. I saw that they interviewed her and it seemed like the interview went well. She's still in the running as far as I know.
They're the best team in the league this year, right? Her Kings team?
I believe so, yeah. All right. That's our college basketball talk turned NBA talk because that's how this show goes. Got to take a time out. We'll be back talk about the Masters right here on Outside the Box Score.
Kick off today.
It's on Masters.com until 3.
The worst coverage of any man. It's terrible.
It's the best. What are you talking about?
There's nothing.
Well, yeah, but it's all free. Like, you just go to Masters.com and they have everything you would want for free.
I guess.
The
fact that it's not on cable is great.
Jim says Scheffler plus 130 or the field minus 156. The field. Never bet on a guy with that low odds with 2 rounds to play.
Who can't putt?
Yeah.
Never been a guy like that who can't putt. You're going to trust him to make that 4-footer to win it all on 18, Jim? I would. He is so fun to watch, though. Every swing he takes, you're like, God, this got to go way right. Perfect.
Right down the middle.
He's a freak.
I don't understand.
Yeah. Which is why I love that people are coming around to be like, when you hear like this is the way you have to do things, and it happens in baseball too, where like so many swings look alike now. They're like, just do what works.
Yeah.
If it works for you, do it.
Yeah.
And that's it's great.
Swing your swing.
Yes.
I mean, we've seen so many golfers with conventionally ugly wrong swings. Jim Furyk has been around for a long time, and you would never teach anyone Jim Furyk's swing.
Not everyone has to be Fred Couples.
No,
it's okay. It's okay.
You've got the guys like Freddie and Rory. Rory's swing is textbook. Like you've got the guys like that, Ernie Els, but the rest, like so many guys. I mean, Tiger's swing wasn't textbook when he was younger.
It was aggressive.
Yeah, no. If there was ever a golf coach that was like, I want you to swing as hard as Tiger Woods, fire him. Never go to him again.
He is very much not a let the club do a work guy.
No.
Okay.
I mean, just watch those videos of Tiger from the late 90s.
Bench pressing 700.
Yeah, like, I mean, the fact that he didn't, like, break clubs over his back on his follow-through shocks me.
Yeah.
Club just snaps in half. Also, screw Zach Johnson. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. We're going to take another break in a second, but before we do, I want to tell you about our friends over at Myers Creek Brewing Company. I've got the hat on right now. I came in repping Myers Creek today. Very crisp hat. I love their merch. I've got to get more of their merch. There's one hat that they have that I absolutely love that I've got to end up buying. Or I can just see if they'll give it to me. But our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, 2 locations, Cazenovia and the Inner Harbor here in Syracuse, the Palace out there in Cazenovia. 16 craft beers on tap. 16. You take 8, double it. That's how many beers you get in Myers Creek. And they're all delicious.
Well, what if I only like IPAs? Do they have IPAs?
Buddy, do they have IPAs?
Do they?
You can get the Velvet Fog.
Oh.
You can get, I've been told in good faith that my favorite, the Diplomatic Strategery, will be coming back. Soon. They put it away for the winter, but they're going to bring it back out.
What if I only like lagers, not heavy beers?
Well, if you like a traditional Pilsner, you get the floating on by.
They have something for everybody.
They got something for everybody. If you're like me and unapologetically Irish American, right now they've got their Irish Red Ale, which is absolutely delicious.
That's a treat when you go places they got the ale on tap.
Ah, their Irish Red is up there with any of them. So they've got something for everybody. They've multiple IPAs. They've got stouts, pilsner, ales, lagers, everything, sours, whatever type of beer you like, you can find it in Myers Creek.
And if you find yourself having maybe one or two too many, grab some food.
Exactly. You got to keep that.
Food.
You got to keep that stomach full.
Mm-hmm.
You'd never want to drink on an empty stomach. You get some mac and cheese. You get some pizza. You get some wings. You get the beef on weck. They've got a Reuben on the menu right now, which my girlfriend just had the other night. We went on Wednesday as we do for trivia. She said it was great. All of it.
Were you trying to cuddle a bit? Get that chicken Caesar.
Chicken Caesar, yeah. And award-winning pizzas, award-winning wings, fantastic food, fantastic beer. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar of Outside the Box Score.
Our used car mega sale is so popular, we're extending it through April. People are coming from all over upstate to shop. Over 500 available.
Fantastic.
Over 300 SUVs, 200 certified
your face
pre-owned,
lights up so much when we get to do a live read. You love a live read.
It makes me feel like this is a real radio
Over 500 views, one location.
What were we just
Zach Johnson?
Oh yeah, so Zach Johnson. I forgot to turn the ads off on the stream. Zach Johnson makes triple, and the fans yay, because everyone hates Zach Johnson because he was a terrible Ryder Cup captain, and he looked awful on Full Swing. Mm-hmm. So everyone hates him right now. So people are booing him or cheering but booing him when he's doing well and cheering him when he's doing poorly. And so he tells him to F off. This is Augusta National.
I get it. I like a guy with just embrace it, Zach. Just embrace it. We need villains. Bryson's now a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
That's no good.
He's absolutely the top villain right now in golf, Zach Johnson.
Yeah. If it's not going to be a Euro scum, we need an American to just go out there and raise some hell.
Yeah.
So go out there today. Well, he didn't make the cut today.
No.
God. Go out there today anyways. Walk around the patrons. Just start flicking people
Listen,
off.
he's got a green jacket. He can just walk around.
Yeah. Driving a cart right by him when they're getting pissed off. That's the biggest annoyance when somebody just blows by. You blow by and go.
Yeah.
Just flick them all off. Wear the jacket out in public.
I was gonna say all he has to do is put on the jacket and start walking around, and people get pissed.
I get trust me, I get wanting everyone to like you. But wouldn't it be fun to just be a full heel villain for a couple days?
Yeah.
Just embrace it. I mean, sure, some psychos out there are gonna probably say things about your kids, your family, and stuff, and that's gonna be hard to deal with. But for those moments where you just get to look somebody in the eye and go, I want a green jacket. I'm better than you, jackass.
You know who I'm tired of is Wyndham Clark.
Yeah.
This guy needs to shut his mouth.
Burb said the same thing last night.
You can't be like, after 54 holes, these other guys will fade. Bryson's still got the lead, man.
Yeah, and he didn't even make the cut.
And he didn't make the cut. Shut your mouth.
Well, that's like Burb said, too. He's like, he hates the live guys. If those live guys didn't leave, you never win a major, probably. You never win anything.
Never.
So be thankful that they left.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Gonna step away from the local scene for a second because it's finally here.
Mm-hmm.
The best annual weekend in golf.
Sure.
The Masters.
We can't play the music or else we're gonna get yelled at again.
Yeah, we will. I might get fired because of how tightly they guard the Masters music.
Mark's gonna bring in his guitar next week.
I'll play the Masters music. I'll learn it on piano. I'll bring in a keyboard and I'll play it. But is it your favorite major?
I mean, yeah, probably. Yes.
Yeah. For me, it's depending on the day, it's either one or two. I love the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Because the U.S. Open falls on my birthday a lot. It's always around there. So, like this year, Sunday it's always Father's Day, Sunday at the U.S. Open.
Yep.
But this year, my birthday also falls on that. So it's Father's Day, it's Sunday, it's the U.S. Open. So my dad and I are just going to sit, watch golf the entire day.
Enjoy some Myers Creek Brewing.
Enjoy some delicious beers from Myers Creek Brewing Company. And just enjoy. So this is going to be one of the years probably where I enjoy the U.S. Open more.
Mm-hmm.
But the lead up to the Masters is what really makes it. And we've got a great leaderboard right now. Bryson DeChambeau, who's always polarizing, up at the top, tied with Scotty and Max Homa, who the people's champion, Max Homa.
Undoubtedly.
He's everyone's favorite right now. One of the smoothest swings in golf.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching his golf swing. He is my swing thought right now.
Try to be Max Homa.
Yes. Yep. Before I swing the club, I whisper to myself, Max Homa, Jake Knapp. Just the two smoothest swings in golf.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I mean, Freddie Couples, obviously, and Ernie Els, but on the tour right now. And he, Max Homa is my swing thought.
Yes.
And you've got Colin Morikawa a few shots back. Tiger makes the cut for the 24th consecutive year, which is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Every year I've been alive, Tiger has played the weekend on at the Masters.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It's absurd. Jim says, wait, you don't think Bryson's swing is smooth? I hate Bryson's swing. I know it works. I hate watching
it. It's the same swing with every club. That's the beauty of it.
Well, yeah, but it's just weird.
I know.
It's such a weird swing.
Did you hear the story on his irons the other day?
Yeah.
They're 3D printed irons.
Yeah, he's in.
They just got approved even to be played with.
Yeah, they got USGA approved this week.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a driver style face on them. So, if ranked golfers out there, or any non-golfers out there, the face of an iron is flat.
Yep.
It's perfectly flat, straight, all that. A driver is curved. It has a slightly curved face. So he has a curved face on his irons like that of a driver.
Mm.
And he says it helps him, when you're swinging a driver, it's it's easier to draw a faded driver based on what you want to do with the manipulate the club face, but it'll come back to the middle. And he says he can do that with his irons with this face. It's easier for him to make sure everything comes back to the middle, no matter where he hits it on the face, which is very interesting.
I think Austin said it right this week. We were talking about it. Our friend Austin, he was like, Bryson is the future of golf. Bryson, his approach to the game,
he kind of is
analysis based, all very analytical. That's the future. And I get there are still guys out there you just got to feel it. There are still feel guys on the tour for sure. Where you can just step up to a shot, and be like, "This is what I got to do with it. I'll just do it." And that's definitely.
I mean, that's Tiger.
Sure.
I mean, the Tiger's always been just a feel guy. You know.
I feel like that's being phased out though, as more stats get into the game and your ball speed's so apparent and everything. All the stats.
You can ask any player on tour and they know their average ball speed.
Yeah.
With every club.
It's crazy.
And they know their strokes gained. They know all this stuff. I think it's the future of golf is a blend between the two. Because Bryson goes so far.
Yeah, he's a freak.
I mean, there's a reason when he first came up, his nickname was the Professor.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all numbers. That's everything he does. And then he took a lot of steroids. But that's his thing.
Yep.
And then you have guys like Tiger, who I bet if you ask Tiger what his ball speed is, he would tell you. He would know. But if he's got 150 into a hole, maybe he's hitting 6-iron, maybe he's hitting 9-iron. Depends on how he wants to hit it, what he's feeling like that day. Am I going to cut it? Am I going to draw it?
Did you see him? He was 80 yards out the other day. He took P-wedge.
Yeah.
And sat it within 8 yards.
Because it's all feel with him. And so you're going to get a blend between the two of them. Jim just said that Gary Player outdrives him.
Who? Tiger?
No, Jim. Oh. Jim says Gary Player outdrives me with 2 sad face emojis. Listen, Gary Player outdriving anyone shouldn't surprise you. That guy's in unbelievable shape for 88.
Was he? I didn't see the tee-offs. Did they all tee off pretty well?
Yeah.
I would hate. There's going to be a day when Jack or somebody gets up there and they duff it. And that day is going to be a very sad, day.
Well, I think this might be Jack's last one.
Okay, thank God.
He said something about retiring from that pretty soon.
Okay.
I think this might have been his last one.
Thankfully, nobody wants to see an old man get up there and duff one off the first tee.
Yeah.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah.
That'd really suck.
I think they all hit irons this year too.
Okay.
But Gary Player still does 100 push-ups a day.
Okay, is Gary Player jacked?
Yes. Dude, Gary Player is an unbelievable athlete.
Really?
Dude, I remember a video from like 5 years ago of him doing a backflip off of a boat into the water.
Could he play on the senior tour still? How old is Garrett?
He's 88.
Oh, okay. Garrett player.
Jim asks, is Ben Crenshaw next in line for honorary? Absolutely. They've been showing a lot of Ben Crenshaw this year and talking about him a lot recently. I think he's absolutely the next guy that they'll add to the honorary starters, which they should just let him hit a putt. He was maybe the best putter ever, Ben Crenshaw. Yep. Just let him like hit a 20-footer. That'd be very funny. It's like, all right, getting us underway at the Masters. Ben Crenshaw, and he hits a 20-foot left to right, 3-foot breaker. It makes it. Because he wasn't very long off the tee. Your dad actually just said his nickname, Gentle Ben, was his nickname. But yeah, it's been a great week at the Masters. Looking forward to it. I say maybe Josh and I, Braylon, if you want to get in on this as well. I know you're not the world's biggest golf fan. If you want to get in on this, we'll take one more time out, come back, pick our winners at Augusta after 2 rounds. So we'll be right back, come back, wrap things up, pick some winners at Augusta on the Score 1260. Wow, Adam picked a guy that didn't make the cut.
All my friends do. They root for, like, Dan was like, I want Fleetwood to do well, Fitzpatrick. I'm like, what are we doing? They're all Europeans, you jackass. We're not rooting for Europeans, are we?
I bet 2 guys to finish top 20. One of them is Cam Smith. He might do it. The other one was Dustin Johnson, who shot a 78 in round 1.
Harry English made the cut. Nice.
I like Harris English.
He's a big fella.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Big
Good
fella.
swing. Pretty swing.
I mean, hear me out. There's a lot of guys floating one. Not many dudes better than 1 under.
Yeah.
I think it's wide open.
It's absolutely wide open.
Super wide open.
We are going to have a great weekend at Augusta.
As trendy as it is to pick one of those top 3 Americans, I really could be anybody. Also, a lot of Americans made the cut.
Yeah.
If Americans don't win it, that'd be a shame. Oh, first tee time of the day. They're not sending out Mickelson with Singh.
Oh, they're not?
No, it's Singh and Denny McCarthy.
Denny McCarthy, yeah. I like Denny McCarthy a lot, too.
He's fun. I followed him. He was the first tee time on Sunday at the PGA Championship. I followed him the whole.
And we're back, wrapping up another edition of Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. A little Masters leaderboard update. No, this is not going to be like the Masters updates on that one show that the one guy does where he like raps. Have you seen those?
No.
Oh my God, you got to look up Masters update. I can't think of the guy's name.
He raps the leaderboards.
It's not even just the leaderboard. He just like names random people.
Okay.
And like goes through them. He's got they're very funny. He's like that's what's going on at Augusta. Like it's really good. Okay. He does them every day. So it's not going to be like that, but we've got 3-way tie for the lead. Bryson DeChambeau, Max Homa, Scotty Scheffler all at 6 under par. Nikolai Hogard at 4 under. Then we've got 2 at 3 under. Cam Davis, the Aussie, and Colin Morikawa. Not many people under par in general. Ludwig Oberg is at 2 under. Then a bunch of guys at 1. Ryan Fox from New Zealand. Cam Young, Tommy Fleetwood, Matthew Pavone, who's been playing unbelievable golf at the start of the year. Danny Willett, former champion, Byung-Hyun An, Cam Smith round out the players under par. I'll tell you right now, give me Colin Morikawa. He's 3 shots back. I placed a little wager on him yesterday. $5 to win 90. I love Colin Morikawa, one of the better iron players on tour. If he can get the putter going like he did yesterday, I think he's got a real chance to win at Augusta.
I like to see someone come from behind today.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I'd love to see Homa win, out of the top 3, that'd be my number 1. But first off, I'll say there's somebody sitting at 2 over that is going to end in the top 10, top 5 this weekend.
Who's that?
That's Brooks Koepka.
You think he's got a big weekend?
There's something about major weekend Brooks that comes in, but my pick to win it all would be everyone's pre-turning favorite in my mind, Xander Schauffele. He's sitting at even right now. He's been playing. He's fine. He's weathered it so far. Expect him to make a run.
Braylon, do you have anyone?
I only know 4 golfers, so I'm gonna say Tiger.
All right, Braylon's taking Tiger. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel, 11 a.m. right here on the Score 1260. Peace.
Listen on radio, smart speakers,